Okay, I'm ready. Great. All right. Welcome to State Fair Community College Board of Trustee meeting. We're on Thursday, June 25th, 2026. We're in the Hopkins boardroom. We welcome all of you. We'll call the meeting to order, and I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda as printed.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Somebody's got to do it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we will note that Jeff is out of town, so he's joining us being Zoom. So you'll see that we'll listen for his yes and no's as time goes by. So thank you, Jeff, for joining
With
us.
only a slight delay, I'm sure.
That's true. All right, we'll wait for it. So next on the agenda is citizens' comments. Lisa, do we have any?
No, we have no comments.
All right. Next on the agenda is the approval of the May 28th, 2026 board meeting minutes as published. I would entertain a motion to approve after you've had a chance to look at it.
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next, we have the warrant number 11 of 2026 May with Keith.
During the month of May 2026, the college disbursed $5,036,617. Of that, the athletic complex for Mammoth was $502,327. McAllister in the outdoor athletic complex was $246,481, and the other items as shown on the resolutions.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now the time we love to do this, it's the new employee introductions, our opportunity to see some of new faces and get acquainted. So
Darcy McPhail's the first introducer.
Not doctor. That's okay. But I am going to turn it over to Dr. Weatherford. I've asked her to do the honors of introducing our new people.
You bet. Good evening. How is everybody? Great. Members of the board, my esteemed colleagues, I have got two new employees to introduce you to. Before I do that, I just want to say thanks so much for your continued support of student success and of our Student Success Navigator program. We're really making strides forward with our students and with that program. So with that, I want to introduce you to two new Student Success Navigators. So up first, stand up, Natasha. Yes. So this is Natasha Jackson. She will serve our students in the business, management, and technology realm. That meta major. So she'll provide them academic coaching, enrollment, guiding them through enrollment, providing resources. Natasha brings 18 years of teaching experience, K-12. She was most recently at Sedalia Middle School teaching 5th grade, but she has taught in California, Oklahoma, and Missouri prior to this. She has a lot of experience in relationship building, using data to mentor other teachers, students, programs. She is not unfamiliar with two-year schools. She graduated from Los Medanos Community or Junior College in California, and then went on to get her bachelor's degree in elementary ed at Sacramento State University. So she's been doing this a long time. We were impressed with her passion for our demographic of student and her intentional student support methods. Some of you may know her husband is Coach Jeremy Jackson, our head men's basketball coach. Together, they have two children, Cameron and Savannah. And Natasha does state her hobby is anything with basketball. So we know why. But we're excited to have the Jackson family be more involved at SFCC. So do you want to say anything?
No,
Or-
I'm just excited to be here and it's been great. I've been getting to be shadowing with Teresa and she's been wonderful and helping me and meeting the students. And a lot of the students that she's been working with were gonna be business majors. So I've already kind of met them and built a relationship with them so far. So it's been great. So I'm excited. This has been kind of, I don't want to say a dream, but I've always wanted to get into advising and to make that transition to higher ed. I've just always been a little timid because I've taught for so long and that's what I feel like good at, my strength. But I feel like this is also teaching too and mentoring the students. So I'm excited.
So welcome, Natasha.
Yeah. Warrior.
Yes, yes, I am a Golden State Warriors fan.
And then we also have Olivia Ditzfeld. She is another new student success navigator. She will be navigating several areas. Agriculture and natural resources is a meta major, and then that crosses into some industry, manufacturing, and engineering. So all those types of industrial and ag students, Olivia will be servicing. Again, with, enrollment, navigating resources, and this is a really cool thing because Olivia was a state fair grad. So she is an alum. She's excited to work with those students that she absolutely understands. After she graduated from state fair, she received her bachelor's in elementary ed at Central Methodist University. So again, one of our partners she's very familiar with. So that will really help her. She's also taken some courses again now here in digital communication. So a life learner for sure. So we're excited about that. Before joining us, Olivia was both an instructional assistant and a teacher in the Sedalia school system. So she has a lot of community relationships. She worked with students to meet diverse needs and worked with teachers to build their confidence. So with some of her students, we're excited to see the impact she'll make. You may also know Olivia's spouse, Taylor Ditzfeld, who works with our HVAC program. They told me together they have 3 dogs. So we're excited to have, such wonderful families joining us on our Student Success Navigator team. So, Olivia, do you want to say anything?
I'm just excited to start. It's exciting.
Awesome. So, great, thanks so much.
And Allison?
Hi, everybody. I am super excited to introduce you to Cindy Eagle. Cindy, would you mind standing up? Cindy joined us on June 1st as our nursing admission and advisement coordinator. So she has been up the stairs learning all the things nursing the last couple of weeks. And I think she's got it on straight now. Cindy is from the Sweet Springs area. She was born and raised there and then went to UCM for her education and moved to the St. Charles County area, lived there for about 10 years and then moved back to the Sweet Springs area. So she has worked at Fitzgibbon since the late 90s. As the executive assistant to the administrator there and also, close your ears on this, Sam. She was a graphic designer for the marketing department at Fitzgibbon. So Cindy she's been married 35 years, has 3 kids of her own and 2 little bitty granddaughters and likes to spend time on our farm in Putnam County and with her family. So we're happy to have her as part of the team.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Healthcare's been rough. So, new environment, excited, so.
All of you, welcome to the mayor.
Welcome, Cindy. All right, and so for those of you who, are just for that part, you're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting. Or if you have other things that you need to do for the evening, you're welcome to leave it at any time. Know that it's up to you what you do, all right? But thanks again, we appreciate you coming.
Thank you, guys.
All right, next on the agenda is the institutional report. So, Mark?
They saw the institutional report and left.
Yeah.
Yep, I know. But the cool thing is for the next 42 minutes. Security, come on. IP headers, data encryption. I mean, come on, isn't that compelling?
Fascinating.
Fascinating.
Thanks for the report.
Yeah, thank you. So I want to give you a very brief overview of our cybersecurity posture. I want to lead that into a conversation about a recent cybersecurity event. I'm going to call it an event instead of an incident because it ended up not really being much of a thing for us, but it did make national news. So we're going to discuss that. Okay. So to keep this in English, I'm going to just kind of brush over some of the technologies we have, not getting specific things what they're called actually. So we have invested heavily as a college, and I really appreciate this, by the way. You guys listen to us, you take our recommendations, you take it seriously. We have all the things in place that you should have in place: antivirus, malware protection. We have that at the desktop level, the server level, the laptop level. Inside of our server farm, we have protection on that we subscribe to by one of the most state-of-the-art companies that you can get in that industry. I won't say who because I don't like publicly announcing those things. But actively monitoring what irregular traffic could be and letting us know. We have firewalls in place. We have, I know this is your favorite, right? This is where all the cool training comes from. We have email security. We have I almost said the name, but we all love Doug and human error, right? That's cool stuff. We also have multi-factor authentication. We use Okta. We have everything in Okta, everything. And that's where we should be. But we can't rest. We have to keep going because there's a lot of things there's a lot of bad actors out there that try to do things all the time. We see it all the time. Other colleges report they're seeing it all the time. In fact, higher education is picking up. We thought it was bad 5, 6 years ago. It's worse today. It is incredible. So we have to pay attention. We have to act accordingly. So for the evolution of Okta, we're looking at it. I'm going to give you a little story of what freaks me out. These things keep me up. I'm not kidding you. This is the source of insomnia for me. For Okta, we think it's a secure. We have to pay attention. There was a person, I'm not naming names, I'm not even name the locations where this person was, but was not in the building, not at their desk, and received an Okta verification set and clicked, yes, it's me. Okay. It happens all the time. Not just here, but it happens all over the nation, all over the world through Okta, and it's called a type of phishing, right? They're actively seeking someone to press that button when it pops up. We have the technology to prevent that, and we will be implementing that shortly. But we have to pay attention. We have to keep moving forward.
Was that me, by the way?
What?
Did accidentally?
He said he would.
Not this time. You're not the example on this one, but. So we have to pay attention to those things. We have to act accordingly. And I will tell you the key to all of this is listening to Doug and human error, right? Education, user education. And again, I appreciate everything that you guys have funded, approved for us to put in place to protect the students, to protect the faculty, protect the staff. It's so important. But user education is key. We're making some changes there. We're actually talking with HR to get some of the cybersecurity awareness inside of the vector system for training. Not just Doug and human error, right? We want more. But that's key. There is over 3,000 potential holes in our network wandering around, entering their username and password every day. It scares me. It does. It really does scare me. So with all that said, and all the things that we do, we still have to plan for disasters. We still have to plan for what if scenarios. What if we get hit by a tornado? What if there's a fire? What if we get hacked? Those types of things also is what keeps me awake. So we have a disaster recovery plan. That disaster recovery plan inside of the Geek Squad is in the form of backup systems. So for instance, our backup system has 3 tiers. It has a online backup, it has an offline backup, and it has what's called an immutable backup, which is hardly accessible even by us. We actually go through lots of steps if we want the data out of the immutable backup. So it's protected. In case something happens, we can always fall back on that. We have a 4th scenario. I will not name the location, but we do have a warm site that if something were to happen, we can restore and we can get the college back up and operational, okay? So we have those things in place that we have planned for. And I'm gonna tell you, none of that is 100% foolproof. It just isn't. So we have to keep paying attention. We have to keep improving things. There's always improvement to be made. So that is the protection of everything that we have in that data center, okay? Everything is on premise. There are a few things that we do back up that are not here. They're in Microsoft. And we do have active backups in that. We are in the middle of a huge project, Banner SaaS. Banner SaaS essentially takes and moves our ERP system, our core functions, up into the internet, the cloud. Software as a service. It's natively built to reside and only live in the cloud. We're moving there. That removes, or I should say alters, the risk posture for the institution. We are no longer responsible for backups of that. We are no longer responsible directly for the hardening or the encryption of the database, okay? Those things are taken care of. We are still responsible, though, for access through will still always be our gateway into there. So it changes things. And it changes some things that we probably have not thought about as an institution. I'm going to get into the last little event here. You may have heard that Instructure was hacked a few weeks ago. In fact, it was the last week of the semester. That's Canvas, that's our LMS. And there was 2 incidences within that one event. The first came over the weekend prior to the last week. But then it was made, Instructure came on and said, everything's fine, everything can return to normal and move on. We were monitoring. And then the major event happened where there was a whole bunch of data that was taken for ransom, right? They announced a ransom. Now, ultimately, we were not part of that ransom. Our data was not in there. We were okay. We did act quickly on the second incident piece of it. We acted quickly and isolated Canvas from being accessible. We removed it out of the equation here so that we would not be part of that and put at risk for anything else. But here's where we need to think through some things. This is where we pay attention, we make changes as needed, and we move forward. We didn't think about in a system, which Canvas is a SaaS system, it's only in the cloud. And we need to think about this with Banner. What do we do in the last week of school when we don't have our LMS? What do the instructors do? It's a big question. And I know that there was some people that acted quickly. They did download grades. They did some things, and there were some great announcements being made, and there were some quick to-dos. And we, that is quick thinking and people rise to the occasion. And this institution is fabulous at that. But with Banner SAS coming online, we need to think through some things. We need to be ready. We need to know what we're gonna do in case something's not available. It's what keeps me up at night. So we're really good. Our posture, our security posture is really good. It's not good enough. It just isn't. We need to keep working at it, okay? That's my report. I wanted to lead into Canvas. Canvas was a non-event for us overall, which was great. But it made me think, it made us think, and it needs to, okay?
So after the Canvas event, Eric and Dr. Murders and Sam and probably others were involved all night long in monitoring the situation, responding, getting communication together. We had our crisis team meet first thing in the next morning and executed a plan. After the event, we did an after event review of what we learned. And as a result of that, we're developing some business continuity planning for every aspect of the college. So Mark has worked in developing getting some templates together. We're going to put that together in a format that all of us can then start filling in, because, it's really, every aspect of the college is vulnerable in some ways. So we have to, all of us have plans for how we would continue business if whatever that key function was threatened by some force unknown, And when I say unknown, there are new things coming up every day. So that's our first response that we're gonna do, and we'll probably come up with others, but I wanted Mark to kind of broach that subject with you all and, get you queued up to think about that. And, maybe there are even some things the Board of Trustees needs to think about in terms of business continuity planning as we move forward.
The crisis management looks a little different these days.
It does.
It's the same old, but it's also a new level.
Oh, man.
So with Banner SAS, does it have the ability to be isolated like you do with Canvas, so they come through the cloud?
Yep. Yeah, the gateway will be through Okta.
Yeah.
And so we can take it away as quickly as we give it, so, yeah. Any other questions? I still have like 32 minutes left.
You don't tell them.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Mark,
Tell
thank
your
you.
team, we appreciate, all you all do. And as you say, I know it keeps you up at night, but we appreciate it.
Well, I'm a good team.
So thank you.
I'm gonna
Well,
call
it
you
helps
tonight,
us
see if
sleep
you're
at
up.
night.
No, that's
I'm gonna
the
call you
sleep.
tonight, see if you're up.
Well, you're not, like I told Eric, you're not my favorites, buddy.
This is the guy hitting yes, right?
Okay, thank you for that report. Next we have the fiscal year 2027 budget. Keith.
Not gonna be quite as dramatic as that. But the project is actually a fair amount of, as he mentioned, fair amount of money spent or budgeted towards hardware, software, and also, Lucene as well and their services. But as you know, we spent the last board meeting, work session, running through the budget, looking at the details, describing it. Nothing has materially changed since then. Everything stayed in place. We'll go over some of the highlights, but overall, the budget we'll be asked to approve momentarily is a budget of $71,010,835. So we passed over the $70 million mark in our budget. There are a number of things that I want to point out we did this year and talk about things. And if you think about what occurred this year, we held our first classes at the Ella Brock A&M Center. We put our first students in the housing complex. We put our dental hygiene students in the new clinical sciences building. We have an outdoor complex and we had baseball and softball games at. We'll be having track and field practice this fall. We have a new strategic plan and a new campus master plan. It was an eventful year if you stop and think about all those things that went on this year. All those things continue into next year, have to be budgeted for now, right? We have a building that has to be maintained. We have fields that have to be maintained. We have, all that going on, and we have a strategic plan to implement, master plan to look at. So all that has been put into our budget. As part of that, we've put additional funds into our agricultural programming. We put additional funds into one of our strategic initiatives that's strengthening our K-12 partnerships. We have a specific line item in the budget for strategic initiatives for the first time ever. It's called out to meet those. So there's a lot happening in here. Other thing in this budget, as you may recall, we've got a 5% increase for our associates, 5%. At a time when the state is freezing our funds, at a time when some other institutions are giving non or minimal raises, we, because of the strength of what we're doing, have the ability to give 5% and take care of our associates. In addition to that, we've added some full-time employees, full-time biology instructor in LOZ, full-time English instructor in Clinton. We're making our farm manager into a full-time farm manager to help with the agricultural side. We've increased the size by moving into the new dental hygiene space. We're increasing the size of that program by about 50%. So we're adding a new instructor in that. We're going to bring in a new full-time head coach, women's soccer coach. Before it was shared between the position of men and women's. We need that to retain those students that come into the women's soccer program. Medical assisting, because of its growth, has received a new instructor. With the outdoor athletic facilities, we've added a full-time athletics facilities director to schedule those events, to take care of that investment we have. And then as part of our strategic initiative about making sure our students have the ability to work and get jobs and be part of that, we're adding a full-time career services position. So there's a lot we're doing because of things we did last year that to keep going this year, we're putting into the budget. So just, there's a lot here where, we talked about the ERP system. That is budgeted, particularly to be upgraded. We'll be building we'll complete our CDL pad coming up. We'll obviously complete the outdoor athletic complex. We've got from a grant, we're going to be able to design and build a new Ag Innovation Center in this year, a paramedic program in Clinton, and then a variety of other maintenance repair. So it's a very robust budget. It is built on the things we said. It's also built on a 2% enrollment growth. And our tuition and fees, our tuition only went up by 3%. Our common fees did not go up at all. So it's a very aggressive budget, but one that was made possible by everything we've done so far, and one that I feel very, very comfortable with. And lastly, we added an additional $100,000 in our scholarship budget to help some of our dual credit students matriculate into our full-time programs here. So with that in mind, as I said, I guess I'll be asking you to approve a grant budget authority of $71,010,835 as shown in the item in the budget.
I would entertain a motion to approve the fiscal year 2027 budget as presented.
So moved.
So we'll get Jeff as a second. How's that?
Second, yeah.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or discussion? Jeff, we don't need to put you on the spot, but because I'm not sure, I want to make sure. Do you have anything you want to ask or add?
Nope, I'm good.
Anybody else?
Just, this is the process. The first budget meeting was held, I believe, July 2nd, 2025. And so this is nearly 365 days of work and information being shared by faculty, staff, Keith's business department and budgeting, Dr. Bates, communication with trustees, that this culminates a lot of hours of effort that has been put in over a long period of time.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, next is loan and lease payment schedules.
As part of the new budget in the new fiscal year, you're required to approve the funding for our loan and lease payment schedules. They don't automatically go over. You have to actually approve each year to have those paid. You see the ones we're talking about there, anything that's a loan payment or a lease payment is listed there. I'm not going to read through them. You can see them, but recommend that you approve all loan and lease payments due in fiscal year 27 as designated in the agenda item.
Entertain a motion to approve the loan and lease payment schedule.
Second.
All right, any questions or discussion?
But two of these go off this year.
One will go off this
One
year
goes off.
and one the next year.
One train goes off this year and Haggard goes off next.
That's correct.
Have any questions?
No, I'm just gonna say this was our big year.
That's true. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, athletic insurance coverage.
So things that we'll keep continuing with the theme of some budget items and recommending and approving them. It's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the basic athletic insurance and catastrophic athletic insurance accident renewal premium payment to Arthur J. Gallagher Affinity of Kalamazoo, Michigan, in the amount of $93,411 for FY 27. This has been accounted for in FY 27 budget. That's approximately a 12% increase over last year. Obviously, we've added a number of new sports and teams and that, so that needs to be approved for this year.
I would entertain a motion to approve the athletic insurance coverage.
So moved.
Second.
So was the 12% just due to the amount of student athletes or
That
was?
well, it actually is due to claims, which is a result. You have more kids, you get more claims. They do a 4-year rolling average on claims. Our last 2 years have been pretty good. The 2 years before that weren't particularly good. And actually, the next item I think has helped these past 2 years actually be much better. Because I mean, that's the only thing I can look at that we did different from the prior years. But yes, as we roll the first 2 years off, I think we'll see better because they go on, the number I believe is they want a 67% ratio of claims to premium, et cetera. We were running in some cases 200% the 2 years before. We're back right at that 60 to 65 level the past 2 years. So we're looking good going forward. And I do believe the next item you're going to approve is part of that. This year, we've had one athletic trainer. With the increase in the number of sports, particularly the number of people in track and field, baseball expanding its program, Darren Paneer recommended we bring on 2 athletic trainers. So this, the one you're about to do is for 2 trainers for the next 2 years. And I would say my perspective, looking at the claims, is it's probably been well worth having them. So we'll go through this here. So it's recommended the Board of Trustees approve.
Hold it.
I'm sorry.
You jumped ahead.
Yeah, so let's.
Got a vote.
let's finish this. All right, so all in favor, say aye. And Jeff, did you have any questions? I apologize, I didn't ask you.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
I'll speak up if I do though.
okay, all opposed, same sign. Motion passes for the athletic insurance coverage. Now,
Poor Larry.
You were on a roll though,
Yeah.
man.
It was. It's recommended the board, see, now I don't have to do it. It's recommended the Board of Trustees approve the sports medicine coverage agreement with Central Missouri Physical Therapy LLC, doing business as Peak Sport and Spine of Sedalia. This agreement will provide SFCC with 2 on-site certified athletic trainers for athletic trainings, practices, regular season home athletic contests, and at-home and away postseason contests. The contract amount for the 2 years is $145,000. Contract term beginning July 1, 2026. And will cease on the SFC's graduation day in May 2028. It's further recommended the President or Vice President for Finance and Administration be authorized to sign the agreement with Peak Sport and Spine. Peak Sport and Spine funding is accounted for in the SFCC athletic operating budget for FY 27.
I would entertain motion to approve the Peak Sport and Spine athletic trainer contract.
So moved.
Anybody have any questions or discussion?
So just note that is an expansion of 1 trainer, so that's 2, from 1 to 2 this year.
1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
I think money will be well invested to, watch those athletes and help out. All right, let's see, all in favor, say aye. The same sign. Motion passes. Now the Agriculture Innovation Center Architect Design Services.
This is a long one, the way it's written. So, as you know, we have a grant to, design and build our agricultural innovation center. As part of that process, the first step, one of the first steps we go through is the selection of an architect for those design firms. The process for that is specifically spelled out and how we go about doing it. It is a qualifications review, not a cost review, where we put our RFQ out for folks to come to us and provide us their belief and their pitch for their services. We had nine respondents. We selected 5 of them to interview. We had a scoring rubric that we had a committee of people, as myself and Dr. Bates and Dr. Murders, and then Ty Jones, and it was Misty Burnett and Carla Riggs with the Ag Center. So they all pitched their piece. At that, we selected 5. We got all the RFQs in, we scored them. We selected 5 to interview. 5 were interviewed over the course of the past week. Of those, then after that, we rank ordered them and selected the one that we feel would be best suited for us. We also are required to select the number 2 and number 3 in case we can't reach an agreement in a contract with the first one. So that's what much about here. You'll hear who's first, second, and third, and be asking the authority to begin the negotiations with the selected firm to enter into a contract. For some reason, we can't come to an agreement. It shows you the order will go in for the next ones. Okay. So it is recommended the Board of Trustees authorize the Vice President for Finance Administration to proceed with negotiations with Slattery Design and Architects. And by the way, I put their deck in I don't know if you saw it in the board minutes. To Slattery Design and Architects of Kansas City, Missouri, for architectural design services for the proposed Agriculture Innovation Center to include, but not limited to, concepting, planning, schematic design, construction documents, and construction administration. 5 firms were interviewed, as I noted by the selection committee, and Slattery was the top choice. Negotiations will include the specific scope of work, the deliverables, the time frame, the compensation, and any other items that may be required for the contract. Furthermore, it's recommended that upon negotiating a satisfactory contract, the President and Vice President of Finance Administration be authorized to sign any and all agreements with Slattery for the project and perform those acts as necessary to carry out the terms of the agreement. The negotiations are not successful with Slattery. The Board of Trustees authorizes the President and Vice President of Finance Administration to enter into negotiations with International Architects Atelier, IAA, our second pick. And if that would prove not successful, to negotiate with SAP Design Architects, our third pick. Funding source is the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Office of Economic Development, Congressional Grants Division, FY 2026 Community Project Funding.
All right.
So you understand what we're
did
doing.
it. You did it, Keith. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So
Right here, second.
second.
Okay, any questions or discussion?
Yes.
Slattery's proposing that they're going to work with another firm and that their combined services. So Slattery, as presented, will be the primary.
The contract is with, I've already spoken with, I've spoken to everybody, obviously. Slattery, we will contract with them only. They will then subcontract to the others, and how they handle that is their business. We have no issue with that. But yes, they brought a team approach. Slattery is a Kansas City firm, a small boutique firm there that presented their services and their willingness and their work ethic to us, I think, very, very well. They brought with them another firm, actually another two architectural firm, another architectural consultant, which were highly skilled and done a lot of practice in the architectural sector.
In agriculture.
Agriculture.
They're specialists in agriculture. Yeah, their package included projects for North Carolina State, Ohio State, and Virginia Tech, University of Tennessee, and then Slattery had done Pittsburgh State and a couple other facilities, maybe not educational per se, but similar educational type buildings.
Did I hear somebody over here on this side have a question or concern?
Well, I just had a question. Are you good? Yeah. I know that grant has a certain dollar amount. Have we even heard roughly the numbers it's gonna cost to build this? Have we got to that stage yet? Like,
We haven't, obviously start doing the design work. And so there's factors that come up as part of that. But all of the architects that we interviewed all felt like they could build a project within the amount of dollars that we had. We gave them a budget of $5 million.
Okay.
For that, we have 6 million available.
Right.
And so they thought the project could be built within that scope.
In the RFQ, we told them it was budgeted 5 million, and all of them had to basically adhere to that, being able, feeling like they could
And
do
in
that.
fact, I think Slattery had a facility that they had designed that was very similar in scope and size that came in budget-wise around that amount. So, and we saw other examples of similar projects that came in that. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Nobody seemed concerned that that
No,
amount.
you know, the construction market could change and
sure, there's gonna be variables that you
there are
can't
variables
control,
we
right?
can't control, but I feel pretty good
But the
about it.
message there is, what we're receiving on this grant, we can build this facility for without any concern.
We're not planning on raising additional
Right,
money
that's-
or we're
that's where
gonna
I'm
build
going.
the facility within the amount available. And, we'll just have to make decisions to keep it within that budget. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussions or questions? All in favor, say aye. Pose same sign. Motion passes. All right, now temporary hiring authority. Scott?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
Hang on, Scott,
Oh,
can you wait
yes,
1
ma'am.
second? Jeff, could we hear, and are you in favor?
Oh, yes, I said it. I must have not,
Okay,
must
yeah,
have glitched at that moment.
yeah, it could have been us on there. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay, Scott.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So this is a request for a temporary hiring authority. Since there's going to be no Board of Trustees meeting in the month of July, and Keith had mentioned all the positions we have coming online and, the retirements, attrition, and preparing for the fall semester. We're requesting this temporary hiring authority. So to ensure continuity of operations and avoid delays in filling critical positions, Human Resources requests temporary authority to proceed with hiring actions for approved, vacant, and budgeted positions during this period. This authorization would allow the college to extend offers of employment and complete necessary hiring processes for positions that have followed the college's established recruitment, screening, and approval procedures. Any hires made under this temporary authority will be reported to the Board of Trustees at the next regular meeting. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees authorize the president or designee to approve and finalize hiring decisions for vacant and budgeted positions during the month of July 2026 due to the absence of a regularly scheduled board meeting.
So before I ask for a motion, is this something that maybe we should have in as policy to be able to do that? I think other colleges have that where they, give that authority because while we run under the K-12 ruling, we also know that on the college side. So is that something that, how would we address that?
If there was interest in the board to consider a policy, we would work with Kate Nash to develop such a policy. Some of our colleagues here in Missouri, the board ratifies contracts after they've basically been hired and maybe even started. The state law requires in community college boards to approve contracts. Kate Nash says that's widely interpreted, broadly interpreted, not wildly. I've talked to her informally about it. She says, I think that we could work something out if that's what you all wanted to do.
So instead of, like, that would give a permanent policy saying that you guys would do that and we would just rectify the contracts.
Right.
So we wouldn't have to do this anytime there was no board meeting. I mean, that's basically the gist of what I'm hearing for a policy.
It could speed up our hiring process to allow hires to be hired mid-month, not wait for the board meeting. We could get people started faster and we wouldn't have to have this. We run into this problem every year in the summer because we are working really hard to get our classes staffed before classes start. And so just about every July, we ask for permission to do this before classes start in August. And so as we've talked, we're okay with working it like this. It's worked for years. But if you're willing to consider that, we would develop something and put it out on the table for discussion.
So my question would be to you, Scott, I don't know how many years you've been here. It's probably felt like an eternity with some situations, but do you feel like that would, if we instituted a policy along those lines, do you feel like it would help you and your team be more efficient in your job role?
Yes, sir, I do. As the board meetings sometimes push closer to the end of the month, we wait to send onboarding information documents to new hires until after you have approved and ratified those new hires. So typically, sometimes there's only a day or 2 days to get people onboarded to start within, handful of days, just depending on where the board meeting falls at the end of the month. So this would definitely help us out, so.
I would say based off of that, I mean, that's kind of our job, is to support these guys and give them the tools and resources to do their job. And I mean, I'd be willing to listen to a policy to give them that authority.
I would agree with that. I mean, that's our job to hire that chair, and that chair's job to do that. So we're just approving the budgetary issues as far as the salary. We're not judging the character and quality of that person.
So we'll vote on this tonight to approve for the July 2026. And then
In the future, we would.
in the future, you could bring, we need to have that in the way of a,
No, that
No,
doesn't.
okay.
We're just for
I have
direction.
a question.
yes.
We're just voting for July.
Yes, sir.
However, the meeting is, our next meeting is the end of August, correct?
Yes.
So in turn, would not that first portion of August be in your wheelhouse as well?
This would cover anyone who would start 1 August. Typically, we would bring them to the July meeting for a 1 August start.
What about,
But I'm talking about the ones that you bring on to the September one.
Oh,
So I'm wondering if you need a bigger window than just.
I see.
It's a good thought.
Good thought.
Right, that's true.
Because I just said, we always do it.
Right, right.
you in a new spot? Look at you.
Sure.
We'll have applause in just a second.
Wow.
That's a
Should've
good
sat there
point.
going,
I think that
would
makes
help,
sense.
yeah.
So
So
you
can we amend-
recommend amend to July and August?
I think that's a valid point, because what if he doesn't get hired till August 2nd?
Yeah.
Now we're waiting till the end of where he could get them onboarded and going.
Right, mid-month. Be great.
Okay,
I'm impressed, Tim.
Say it, it's scary, yeah.
all right, so I think we need, okay, so I think you need a motion first, because I haven't got a motion on that, right? Because I kind of started.
Richard's our motion.
So,
Richard's our motion guy on this.
any thoughts on that? If we do July, August?
I think that's good.
Okay,
The motion to grant temporary hiring authority as presented in the board packet with the changing to be the months of July and August 2026.
I think you should second that, Mr. Idea Man.
and so,
Second.
do we have a second? All right, and we do. Any other discussion then? Thank you for bringing that up, Tim. Good thoughts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, Board member vacancy. This is really just for informational purposes. I'll let Dr. Bates kind of get started and
Well, we do, as you know, regretfully for us, Dr. Amy Brashears has resigned her position, effective June 8th. She was, in my opinion, a wonderful board member, did a great job representing constituents of Benton County, and especially looked out for Benton County where she lives. And she was always quick to express ideas that could help her constituents. And so she, has chosen to take another route, and so we regret that we're not gonna have her on the board, but we do have a process for filling board vacancies. Board policy 0323 and 0324 provide direction on how we do that. And so pursuant to those policies, we have given public notice that we have a vacancy for our Board of Trustees. And that notice has appeared in various media in Patterson, Benton counties. There's public notice in both the Sedalia Democrat, Benton County Examiner, and I believe it's on social media or will be on social media as well. So the word is out, and so that process is, well, that the person that you all select will serve Dr. Brashears' unexpired term, which would be through April of 2028. And so applicants have to be a US citizen and a registered voter within the SFCC district, a Missouri resident for at least a year and at least 21 years of age. And so we have asked interested candidates to submit a formal letter of interest outlining their qualifications and interest in serving the college, and to submit that letter in person to the president's office or to an email address created for this, sfccboard@sfccmo.edu. That the deadline for that is Monday, July 20th by 5 p.m. So, so that is rolling. That is out there. So what we need, we do have some decisions that we need to make from the board. And that relates to the process that you want to follow. Now, our policy allows you to contact and recruit interested people, as well as this, public announcement. And then if there is a process, if you would like to interview potential candidates, you may do so. That interview has to be done in a public meeting. And your selection for a candidate has to be done in a public session of the Board of Trustees. So this isn't a personnel issue that can be done in executive session. This is a public issue. They're selecting somebody to serve as public's representative on the Board of Trustees. So in the past, I guess I understand that, vaguely remember that we selected Tim Carr to do that, but there were, we solicited applications and the board interviewed candidates. This was in COVID time, 2020-ish, and those interviews were done via Zoom, and the vote was at the board meeting when we had those kind of COVID things in place. So with the timing, with our July board meeting being focused as a work session, a planning session for the board with no business really conducted, that kind of complicates things a little bit. You could choose to spend part of that meeting interviewing and voting on candidates. I'm just going to throw out some options that Patty and I talked about. You could form a subcommittee to review the applications
letter of interest.
the letter of interest
If we
and
have more than one.
make a recommendation for interviews. If you had a subcommittee, since we have 5 members of the board, that subcommittee could be 2, because if you had 3, it would be a quorum. So that would have to be an open meeting, but you could do it too, or have an open meeting, but we'd have to go through that process. So if you had 2, you wouldn't have that open meeting. You could establish a special board meeting to review applicants, or a special board meeting to interview applicants, or you could just wait and do it all at the August board meeting. So I think those are some of the options that Patty and I envisioned. There could be other options, but
I remember, I thought a special board meeting was called. I think Randy called the special board meeting. That's all that was done, was the presentation.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Or I personally would rather.
For the interviews, for the interviews. I can't remember. I don't think the vote occurred at that meeting, but it may have.
We were interviewed and.
Yeah.
The next round was when they actually voted.
The vote was probably at a regular board meeting.
I felt like we knew that night though, when we interviewed.
We voted that same time.
Yeah, I think we
That
knew.
night?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I felt like we left and I didn't kind of read.
Okay.
Yeah, so you might not have,
I was trying to
you
remember
might
why
not have
we
known
had a
that.
second one. Seemed like we had a second vote.
That's because, we voted twice because there were 3 candidates. And the first vote was 2-1.
That's right.
Okay, that's why we.
And then we held a second vote to see if we could have him, could reach a majority decision.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what's the pleasure of the board? How
I'd
do we?
rather hear and know about every one of them. I think we're gonna fall back into what we did during our presidential search if we start, okay, you two pick it all, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think since we have a small board to begin with, I think having everyone here would be the best route.
And I would rather just interview and select and get them on board because we've got a pretty,
So we would do
Busy
that
fall.
prior to the August board meeting, right?
I'd almost be tempted to try to pull it off sooner. Cause they're gonna need to be onboarded and brought up to speed on some things that will be happening in September anyway.
Okay, so they don't get, I'm just kind of talking about dates. So July 20th is the date that the letters are to be in.
Mhm.
Okay.
Again, I'm one of 5 now. I can't say 6 anymore. 1 of 5 now. That would be my take. I would rather get the letters, interview them, make a decision and get them onboarded. Cause I think it'd be nice to get them up to speed before the September board meeting. I think August would be a nice way for them to have their first board meeting. That is my personal take on it. Again, I'm 1 of 5.
I would agree.
I agree with you.
There are so many things going on,
Yeah,
personnel wise, structurally, everything. I think the sooner is much better than later.
So your suggestion is a special board meeting.
So what is your anticipation of the retreat timing? You know, I know we're starting at 4:30. How long do you anticipate the retreat?
We typically go 3 hours.
Okay.
And you know how Keith does when he starts
Whoa.
going on about the budget, you know.
He does like numbers.
I'd almost rather pull it off right.
I'm also going to bring forward a suggestion of a retreat agenda item that will take some time.
Okay, so to clarify that, would you be comfortable with 2 agenda items? Whatever you're bringing forward and then interviews, voting, and then into the retreat?
That's saying.
Is that what I'm,
Actually,
is that what I'm,
actually it's not a business item, it's a retreat item.
okay.
It's a retreat subject.
So,
So it should be part of what we would do in the retreat rather than a business item.
perfect, okay, yeah.
So I hear from you, Richard, you're saying we're gonna need time for your item and some other
may-
things, so we may use that
If we,
full 3 hours.
if we decide we want to do that, we may need to do some timings.
So the recommendation to do it.
Time management.
Oh, time in, okay.
Yeah.
Or-
We,
or a
we can
different
certainly control the amount of stuff that we do in the retreat.
Well, I don't wanna short you
However we
guys
want.
either, you know,
Well,
I mean. I
As I
just,
was getting ready to say, Keith can fill all the time you want, we can cut it down, so,
Mhm.
or Dr. Bates.
I think it's fair to whoever the new board member shall be, that they have that time to get up to speed. Kind of referencing some of what Tim has mentioned. That's just, again, my personal take. I'd rather find a way to cut that in sooner than later. Let's get them on, let's get them rolling.
So are you
Help us
saying
make a
of the
decision.
night of the retreat, or are you saying another, the
I'm
next
open
week or
either
whatever?
way.
Need clarification here about kind of when.
Could you do earlier than 4:30? On that night,
That's what that,
on that night of the retreat? Like if we started at 4?
23rd is when our,
felt like I was telling Patty today, my day can change in.
yeah,
15
that's the
minutes.
thing, it's
That's
unknown.
So it really doesn't, I can't obligate it like that.
Right.
But I would do my.
You only
day,
know
assuming
that
I-
day.
Yeah.
It would have to be called a regular meeting, or
Yeah,
it's a
it'd be a
special.
meeting.
Yeah, it has to be, it can't be the retreat.
Well, our retreat,
The retreat could be like a work session. The retreat is actually a work
That's-
session.
it's a meeting too.
But we would have to have an agenda, and that would be the only item on the agenda.
Right.
Well, for our retreat, we have an agenda too,
Yeah.
and we follow the open meetings laws.
Yeah.
We'd just be adding an item to the agenda on the retreat. We call it a retreat, but it's a meeting. We're just not going through the regular order of business at that meeting, so. So I hear a suggestion to starting at 4 o'clock with the retreat and,
I would entertain having a regular session at 4 with the lone agenda item of selecting a new board member. And then follow that with our retreat.
We could do that, and also if Tim needed a little leeway, we could also just schedule taking up the board member vacancy at a set time. And do that as an order of the day, and then take a break in the retreats agenda and pick it up after, if that would be helpful or a little more able for Kim to be able to get here and participate.
It was special.
yeah, we could say 6 o'clock, we're gonna do the interviews or,
Well, that was gonna be my other thought, is starting at 4, I do wanna be fair to whoever may apply. To make sure they can accommodate that time.
later, that might work
I wanna
better.
do, as I said, 4 as it was coming, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
I think I like that idea.
Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think having a set time and having it later is more appropriate. Doing it that night is fine. The question I would have, I think this is getting a little bit hasty, but would the select person selected then be invited to stay for the remainder of the meeting or not?
It's an open meeting.
It's a public
Oh,
meeting.
That's true. I'm sorry.
So am I hearing you say that you would interview all of the people that applied? So as we get applications, we could, schedule the interviews for that day.
I think that's only fair.
Good.
It's 10, it's 10.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Jeff, you okay with that?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Do we need any kind of a motion to?
No.
You
I
okay
think we've
with that?
received
All
some
right.
direction, so.
All right, you have the direction you need?
Yep.
Okay, and yeah, we do thank Amy Brashears, for her leadership and, she kept this school community utmost in her mind, and that was the one thing that she will leave a legacy. So we will miss her and wish her well. Okay, so next looks like on the agenda is the president's report.
All right, I'm sorry, I've got a sort of a lengthy report. If you saw on the agenda, I even have a PowerPoint presentation. So, which I don't normally do, so I'll try to move through it fairly quickly, and I might not go in the same order as it is in the agenda, but I'll get through all the topics. First of all, you have in the calendar you have a calendar of events. Just call it your attention to that board retreat. And did we decide we're gonna start that early? At 4? Okay. So we're gonna start that early at 4. Lisa said that she's gonna need help remembering what, and I said, I've got it, Lisa, I've got it. And I forgot. So that's really the big thing on the board retreat. I mean, on the calendar of events, not on that calendar of events is the Missouri State Fair. And of course, everything revolves around the Missouri State Fair and including our class schedule. So classes start the day after the Missouri State Fair closes. But one item I wanted to alert you to is the Governor's Ham Breakfast this year. If members of the board, it will be a well-attended ham breakfast because this is an election year. And so if members of the Board of Trustees would like to attend the Governor's Ham Breakfast, Jolynn will buy tickets for you, a ticket for you. And so she would like to buy the tickets early. So if you could let her know and
Jolynn.
yeah,
Okay.
or you can let Lisa know and she would communicate with Jolynn so we can get those tickets bought here in the next couple of weeks. You have a date on that?
Thursday the fair, right?
Yeah, well, the second
the second
Thursday, so
Thursday.
it would be the 20th.
Thank you, Richard. I was gonna look that up and forgot to do that. All right, so that takes 2 agenda items out. Summer census was a couple of days ago. And so we got a good start to the summer semester. The census data is in your agenda. Our head count is 1,250. That's a 7.7% in head count. And our credit hours are 6,637.5. That's a 2.9% increase. So we were really nervous about the summer semester as days leading up to it. The enrollment kind of lagged behind, but there at the end, it really jumped forward and that was a good, strong increase. And as you're going to see in just a second, the summer enrollment is going to be important to our funding. It is now, but it's going to have even more importance in the future. Next, I'd like to talk about the Center for Human Services. The Center of Human Services last Friday had an award ceremony, and State Fair Community College was privileged to receive this lovely award. And it's for Outstanding Community Partner. And I'd like to recognize some folks that were responsible for that, receiving that award from the college. I gave them the option to attend. They were at last board meeting and they're very shy about their work and, hesitant to stand up and receive recognition for that. So they asked not to attend, which I agreed, but I would like to recognize them. And that's the Facilities Management Department, led by Justin David, but really this was spearheaded by Christine Brown. And they have been working with the center for a couple of years now in support of their summer work experience program. And they've had 10 high school students participating in the program. And these students have worked alongside the facility staff, learning work skills, that's what we're about, training people for jobs. They've done everything from landscaping to office assistant to simple electronics, warehouse organization, the campus mail system, which I understand is a complicated system. I was surprised to hear about that. And they also worked in the greenhouse to get plants ready for the annual plant sale. some of the students this year have worked at growing their own produce in our community garden plots out by the facilities department, and they're now selling that produce at their own stand at the farmer's market. This gentleman that's leading that is an entrepreneur, very interested in that. So he's not only learning the plant side of the work, but the business side of the work. And Tuesday, I went to his stand and I bought some produce from him. And this is odd to say because I've never thought about onions having different, being good onions or bad onions, but I had the best tasting onion from his stand. It was the sweetest onion I've ever had. And he grew it out in the community garden plot. So he was so appreciative of the opportunity to learn skills through this and very complimentary of the project. And so I have spoke to leadership of the center, and I think there's opportunity for us to expand as an institution. Some training opportunities, not only for their clients, which they're statewide. They have a large list of clients, but also training for their staff. And so I'm looking for opportunities to continue to work with this organization. So recognize those folks. And if they're watching online, good job, and wish you were here to stand up. Finally, I want to talk about the teleconference, and I want to spend some time talking about the actually the presidents and chancellors retreat that occurred right prior to the teleconference. But first, I want to say something about the teleconference. And at the teleconference, they spent some time with the consultant that helped us in developing our strategic plan, Andrea Henderson. And they did some she did some futurist training with the whole leadership group, the TELC group at the conference. And that was over 2 days of training. And so we were at advantage because we had already gone through it. And of course, we led the group, MCCA is always doing that, but
Their own table now, we didn't need up in front.
there was one area that I wanted to highlight that struck me, and the board may talk more about it at their part, but she talked about drivers and signals. And signals are looking for small things that are happening that hint that the ground is shifting. And so she suggested that leadership should spend time talking about signals on a regular basis. And so I've talked to ELT about this, and we're going to start talking about signals at our retreat. And I'd like to have that a regular part of our ELT meeting. But I think it'd also be helpful for the board to start thinking about it, because you're the community's representatives. You're active in the community and you see things from a different perspective than we might see things, a unique perspective. So what I'd like to do at the retreat is I'd like you to talk about signals. What are some small things, small specific things that are happening that hint the ground is shifting? That could be in our communities. That could be in our programming, the value of community college. And then from that kind of foundation, in the next 6 months, I'd like to maybe once a quarter, one more time, spend some time as a board talking about signals, just to keep us thinking ahead. Because sometimes in our meetings, we get down in the weeds where, routine approvals, motions and things like that. And this allows us, as Mark Haverly says, instead of being head down, head up. And so signals is something that, any questions about that or thoughts about that?
It's a learning process. So the paper you have, and I'll just interject
yeah.
on that. So this was one of the papers that they handed out. And so I had Lisa copy that for us because it helps to, these words that we're going to be hearing so that we know what's being talked about. So there's a signal as opposed to an assumption and driver. So this paper will be something that we'll want to keep handling. So sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
And
no,
we'll
good,
get you,
thank
Jeff, one of these,
Okay.
stop either in or we'll get it to you next board meeting.
Yeah. All right, so, is this more than that?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we did talk, the presidents and chancellors did talk quite a bit about, the community college state allocation distribution formula. And, the context for that is language in this year's appropriation bill. And you guys have heard about this, but to remind you, there was a proposal in the House Budget Committee that all appropriations for higher education be converted to an FTE formula. And it was quite controversial. It was kind of at the last minute presented to the legislature and to the higher education. It did pass the House. It had resistance in the Senate, did not pass the Senate. The Senate approved the governor's recommendation. And so there was a House Senate conference committee that came together and approved the budget and that approved a proposal that was approved by the legislature for the budget. In that bill, it said this statement that the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development is directed to submit a new funding model for higher education for the allocation of state appropriations to public institutions of higher education. And it should apply to all public 2-year and 4-year institutions. And that model should be presented by December. And the legislature can follow that model, develop their own model, do something on their own. So there is work. The Commissioner of Higher Education appeared at our meeting and spoke to us, and they're working towards developing that proposal for the legislature in December. Well, as you know, right now, community colleges we receive an allocation as a whole, and that allocation is distributed through a formula we develop through the MCCA. And interesting that is in law, and I've provided a copy of that law to our MRS 163-191. And it says that distribution of appropriate funds to community college districts model can be developed and revised appropriately cooperatively by the community colleges and the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development. And so interestingly, in the law, it said that allocation can be up to, but no more than 50% of our operations budget, which we know the state allocation is nowhere near 50% of our allocations budget. But this model was established in 1993. And so originally it was kind of an FTE-based model. It had some changes over the years. And so if you look at the appropriation, this was the model in 2013. But then it started to get out of whack a little bit. And so this is the model in 2021. And you can see that there's this model shows each of the community colleges and the appropriation per FTE for each community college. State Fair Community College is in the light blue here in the middle. And St. Louis Community College is at the far end, and Ozarks Tech is here at the low end. And you can see that there's a pretty wide disparity per FTE between the top and the bottom. So with community colleges, we've been working on a formula to even that out so that we would come close to all receive the same allocation per FTE. And we've been pretty successful. So if this is in 2023, You can see that's starting to flatten out a little bit. Really, that's being done by holding new monies from those people at the top and distributing new monies to the people at the bottom. So here's State Fair Community College. You see we've moved up and this is starting to flatten out. And let's see, and then here is 2025, and that's flattened out even more dramatically. So there is some confidence in the community colleges in our distribution model. If you talk, and I talk to legislators, there is even some talk that, well, that language was really directed at the four-year colleges. We'd be okay if you continued to use your same model or something close to that. But there is, you know, there are some people that want to go to a different model. They feel like that, you know, model hasn't been fair. So the presidents and chancellors are working on a new model, and this is the draft of the model that we would use. And this model would use, first of all, the base of it would be the complete year FTE on a rolling 2-year average based on iPads. So complete year FTE means that it would use fall, spring, and summer FTE. The model that was passed by the House was a fall semester FTE. It would only use the fall semester. Complete year FTE more accurately shows the business that we do, but it makes it important for us as a community college to make sure that we're focused on our enrollment every semester, including the fall. Then the model would have some incentives for some things that the state values in terms of its workforce training. We know we're training for people and there's demand for high-paying jobs, but oftentimes those programs are more expensive for us to develop. Our career and technical education programs, for instance, are more expensive, generally speaking, than our general education programs. So this model would give an additional 0.5 kicker. That's a technical term, I guess, I don't know, in higher education funding, but a kicker for CTE funding. So a 2-year rolling average. So we would get a little bit more for our CTE training. And there would be a 1.0 kicker for health professions. We know Allison and her crew, they're incredibly more expensive. And so that would incentivize or reward colleges that have additional programming in CT in health sciences.
And on CT, that would be available for 4 out of the 12 community colleges.
Not CTC, CTE, so career and technical education.
Okay, got it.
So just to give you a picture, about this last year, 15%, little over 15%, 15.5% of our credit hours were health science credit hours. And last year, 21%, almost 22% of our credit hours were technical credit hours. So this model, what I do here, this model, the base would be 1. If a student was a health science student, that student would count, that FTE would count as 2. And then there would also be a kicker for Pell eligible students to reward community colleges for serving the hardest to serve, most neediest people in our service region. So a 0.5 kicker for Pell eligible, and then finally a 0.5 kicker for completions, or actually getting people to complete certificates or degrees. And these are all IPEDS numbers. So that, if you look at that model, I'm going to show you some examples of that. So if you just did FTE, This is an examination of FTE. Are we sharing this, by the way? Okay, with Jeff. So, okay, good, thanks. So our current, this is our current allocation, 9.3 million for F27. If we reallocated based on FTE, we would go down a little bit. The reason is because the 2-year average is 22, 23, 23, 24. We had a bad year, 22, 23. Our enrollment was down, if not, or just a little bit up, I can't remember. It's down. And so, but our growth started in 23, 24, and we led the state for the next 2 years. So the things look good in the future for us, but that's how it impacted us. We really don't know how the others would factor in because we don't know, that's more complicated. For example, the presidents and chancellors have charged the CAOs, Dr. Murders, with deciding how every course that creates FTE will have the same zip code number that we can use. So we're all doing the same thing. So if you have a nursing course, which is a good example, welding one, all of our welding courses will have the same zip code. So then we can put it into a formula and it'll be fair. But if you look at the thing, if you look at the data, we're below the median in the FTE right now, but it looks like in the future, we're gonna be above. If you look at completion, we're above the median schools. If you look at Pell Grants, percentage of students awarded Pell Grants, we're above the median. So my sense is, and the sense of Dr. Murders and Keith, this formula, we're probably not going to lose money in. It would probably be okay with us. We're probably right in the middle. We may gain a little bit. Our plan is to get all of the data in place, plug it in and see where it's at. This draft was unanimously approved by community colleges, but not everyone knows for sure that they're gonna adapt a thumbs up with the final because they want to see how it's gonna happen. And you think about the one that has the most to lose probably is St. Louis Community College because their cost per FTE or allocation per FTE is the highest of any of the community colleges. So they have to see how it happens, how it works out. In the long term though, as that formula is developed, we know what it's at, then that provides us focus for what we need to work on to gain more state monies. So our team, I've given a heads up to the leadership team, so to start thinking about that. But that would change our enrollment management goals, really help having us recruit more CTE and health science students. It may cause us to think about program development or new programs in those areas. We really got to be focused on completion and maybe focused on recruiting low income students, make sure we're that. So it's going to impact the way we do things in terms of our goals and our actions. The last slide, this is a slide that shows, I'm sorry you guys can't read this, but it's in your onboard. But this slide shows all of the tax money that colleges get and equates it to a per FTE. What kind of tax money do we get per FTE? State Fair Community College gets $5,811 per FTE for property tax and state. So in total tax. If you look at St. Louis Community College, they're getting more than $16,000 per FTE.
This is current number.
This is current right now. And so the low
Well,
is,
this isn't like based on, this is actually what they're.
this is actually right now what
Yeah.
we're getting for FY 27. And Moberly's and North Central are in the 3,000s. Us, Three Rivers, Crowder, and Ozarks Tech are at 5,000. Then it jumps way up. It jumps up to hold your assignment. I know this is enthralling, but it jumps up, Crowder College Jefferson College and Metropolitan in the 9s, Minerals in the 7s. So if you think about that, if we were more even, I advocated for all tax money to be considered in the equation to even us out. And I lost, but, think about what we could do if we had more like $16,000 per FTE, we would give. And the consensus is that local property tax levy is used to keep the tuition down for their local taxpayers. St. Louis Community College has a greater ability to do that than we do, partly because our assessed valuation is collected in theirs, and partly because of the potential burden to taxpayers to fund us, so the challenge with that, getting that passed, we know that's hard, and State Fair Community College has not had a record of passing taxes. So I just wanted to put that into context with you, and it's good. I think I'm in favor of this formula because it's a step. My first choice would be the state developed NCHEMS model that consultants developed. It's a very complex model, but it takes into account the local property tax and evens out the state funding based on the local property tax a little bit. The consensus of the group is that it's too complex for the legislators. And Dude is concerned about that, the complexity of it, that they don't think they could get it to pass because of that. But that's my first choice. Second choice would be the model that we're developing. So any questions about that? I'm sorry, my report was so long about that, but I think it's important for you guys to know the talk that's going on and how it impacts. And I'll certainly keep you up to date in my Friday report, but I thought we needed some discussion about it.
I think as we approach the session and the recommendation to the legislature comes out, it'll be important to have the background in what's at stake and what they're looking at. I guess the four-year institutions, that there are some major disparities among the state's four-year institutions. And those disparities are so glaring that I think that's part of the impetus behind the legislature's interest.
Well, thank you for that report. All right, next on the agenda is anybody else have anything to ask of Dr. Bates before I go on? Financial report, of course, this is for informational purposes, and so Keith.
based on what Dr. Bates showed you, I think the one thing is there is we are by definition efficient because we have no choice to be efficient. And so if you ever wonder if we're working hard to use every dollar we have, go as far as it can, we are.
We're doing the same things that Lewis is doing with
Yeah.
1/4.
Our Jeff coach is our same size, gets 8 million, getting 8 million more a year than we do.
Well, right, I mean, you just look at that median was, if we were just at median, I mean, that's another $2.1 million
Right.
in funding. If we go to the middle of that pack, it's another almost $4 million. Like, to your point, like, we have to be efficient.
So if anyone's ever asked, seriously, if you ever asked, are we efficient and do we take every dollar seriously? The answer is absolutely. And that's why we, as Richard mentioned, we start the budget process in another 2 weeks and we watch it carefully.
60 days.
We watch it and everybody here watches it, not just me, but everybody watches it. With that, now, that said, and as Jeff knows, what I will say now, is that this is the May 31 report. Obviously, we're 1 month towards the end. So basically our revenue, except for state appropriations, is pretty much all in. You see, we're 3% ahead overall of our revenue budget. Again, as we've, talked throughout the year, we've had a very strong revenue year. And that continues and came in as we expected it would. Hence the ability to take some expenses we were thinking about having to spend in the FY27 budget for some various supplies and equipment, bring them back to this year, which allowed next year's budget, which is a little tighter, to fit what we needed it to do. And that's just, even with those expenses in and those, we're still having a year that I'm very comfortable with. I'm very proud of what we've done. I'm very proud of the college for, one, the enrollment increases we got, the strides we made in penetrating the high schools, bringing in more students, and then the ability of also all of our staff of watching their budgets, adhering to our budgets, and making sure they're using the best use of the money. So, obviously, anyway, we're well within our budget this year. So, then secondly, some of the 10 to 25,000 purchases we made in the last month. AC repairs with Apex Mechanical, that will continue one of these days. I don't know how, but someday we'll figure out the air conditioners. We got a new lawnmower. The facilities group is thrilled, and we went green with our lawnmower. But brought a new lawnmower in. And the triangle lights, there's the triangle there, the roadway there across from the residence hall. That triangle that splits where the loop goes around and straight. That was a very dark area of our campus at night. And with the new residence, the old one and the new one, that was a dark area for these kids, particularly when the sun starts going down at 5, walking back and forth from the residence hall. So long story short, we installed lights in that one. I don't know if you drive up knows, but we've installed lights in that now. So that's lit at night. And then our stopper door, the one you go in, the big rolling door, it failed a couple of months ago, so we had to repair it. You'll see that on here. So those are the ones we had to do that were below the threshold for. Any questions? Okay.
Thank you so much, Keith. Next on the agenda is board discussion. So I know that Dr. Bates referred to TELC, and so for those of you who maybe don't know what that stands for, it's Trustee and Executive Leadership Conference. It was at Camden on the Lake. And so, as I say, this was the one thing that I felt like was essential in bringing back to you all, was those words that, we heard somewhat through, if you were in the strategic planning with Darcy and her crew, that, that we now have that next step that we need to look at. And if our college is doing it, we as trustees need to be on board as well. Richard, want to share what your take on the conference was? Because Richard and I were the ones that attended with Dr. Bates and several others, Keith and Darcy.
It's mentioned we had the legislative issues, which Dr. Bates addressed, but probably the most pressing upcoming issue will be the amount allocated to higher education, as well as how that money is going to be divided. Very interested. Then with Andrea Henderson
going through the foresight planning. My take was that since we had gone through that process in developing our strategic plan, that the level of discussion we had at our table was at a higher level than what was taking place at the other tables. That we reported out tables that we were functioning within the system, within foresight planning, and that the others were trying to grasp what she was talking about. That we have learned it. Andrea shared that she with us that she has a contract with the California community colleges to do trustee training. And she's developing exercises for those California community colleges to use, and that she would be willing to share those exercises with us. Probably Darcy would probably ask, we chose to use them, we'd probably ask Darcy to be our facilitator. So that the board starts thinking in terms of foresight planning, where we're incorporating signals, assumptions, drivers, in everything, in what we're doing in our planning and in developing responses and being aware of the various issues that might take a decision one way or the other. What are the things out there? And Andrea's indicated that she'd be willing to get that to us in time for our retreat. I think I would like to see us do do some foresight exercises as part of the retreat. Dr. Bates has shared that he's going to ask ELT to do the signals, which is sort of the beginning point. But we do a lot of things where we don't consciously state, well, why we're doing what we're doing. On the residence hall, we made assumptions that we'd be able, that enrollment would produce enough people. We also made an assumption that we would be able to offer housing in the residence hall at a rate less than what we would by continuing to rent units from an outside people. But we didn't necessarily as a board state our assumptions or make it clear what our assumptions were. And to go through training helps you just be there, to know what you're doing and to understand the process. And the more you practice the process, and that's what we had, is because we had practiced the process in our planning, that when we went through these exercises, we were ahead of the game. So I think that this foresight planning, it's core to our strategic plan, our vision and a foresight. And I think if we as trustees would do some foresight training, it would help us in what we do, and also recognizing the work that is being brought to us by the other people in the other parts of the campus community. When they bring, here's why we need this program, or here's why we don't need this program. Here's what it is, and understand, help us grasp what is going on in the decision-making process. So I would like for us to make time to do that.
Okay.
That's why I needed extra time maybe in the training.
Yeah, okay. All right.
The other thing,
Oh, you have
a
something
couple
else?
other things. Fair parade. Do we as trustees want to be represented in the state?
Because I saw where they were asking in, what thing do I read? I can't think of the word, the
Weekly.
weekly, yeah, so that they were asking others who wanted to be in the parade, so.
I'll just throw that out. Are you asking if the board wants to be? in the parade?
I think we have to make a decision prior when we get together
By
in July.
By July, yeah,
By
think
July.
about it.
And it may be just having a banner and
And a truck,
and a truck or one of the vehicles in doing it, but it might be something for us to think about, especially since we have some potential partnership in the state fair going forward. Also, to recommend the ELT notes to everybody. This past week, there was a note about a welding camp taking place. How course competencies were trying to be incorporated into all coursework across the college, and how those competencies would benefit students, and then some ideas about how expanding partnerships with K-12 districts in our districts in the coming year. All that was there to be read, so just commend that to everybody.
okay, thank you, Richard. Anybody else have anything?
What's up with the air conditioning? Seriously, been on this board however many years, we're blowing a lot of money on air conditioning. What's wrong with it?
Nothing's wrong with it. It is, I've asked my colleagues at other colleges, it's the nature of AC systems. A lot of ours are getting old now.
That they don't cool our buildings, that they don't cool our buildings. We're trying to have classes in rooms that are 80 degrees.
They break down is the problem. It's not like normal. That's not the normal temperature, but they break down, so.
What's causing it?
So for
It's not that old, is it?
Some of them are quite old.
And the Decker?
Yeah, that
Oh,
cooling
that's-
system was put in that tower, that cooling tower. I don't know, what, 20 years ago?
We're getting ready to pay off the.
Get ready to pay off.
1 years old.
My wife fixed it, because he's only 12 to 15 years on them.
I hear some frustration. Believe me, we're all frustrated if we get fixed.
I was just looking for an answer.
I will tell you, we have made significant progress over the last couple of years.
Yeah, we've invested a
Significant
lot.
progress.
I had to break out a heater from my office, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, it is a challenge. Institutional heating and cooling is a challenge.
Well, and I think you go back to the strategic plan. I mean, that's something that we put on our radar is maintenance of buildings. And we've been very, very blessed as a college to have the buildings built with the donations and community involvement to get them done. But to maintain them is a costly venture. I mean, the number that was presented there is pretty high. I mean, some of the stuff is just older. So,
I will concur with Keith that all the institutions in the state are facing the same things. And the president's chancellors talked about maintenance and repair maybe as one of those factors in there. In the NCHEMS model I referred to, they do have a maintenance and repair factor in there based on your square footage of buildings. But it's a big issue for a lot of people. So nobody's got a secret.
I just didn't know if there was a drop in the ball, of ongoing maintenance at some point in time, way before your presidency or what. It's like you said, 20 years for the Hager. I don't know what the lifetime guarantee is for a massive unit like that. But as I shared with you that morning, I was getting bitches. So,
Yeah, and we turned, maintenance department was on it, they were working on it, so. You know. We have different systems. The system that controls Heckert and Yater is one Keith and I agree. We should never, ever design a system like that because it's just has been a problem since it really started.
but investment is getting new.
It's a,
I have no idea.
Multi-million.
yeah, it's a huge investment.
Well, a new doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna last longer, you know?
Well, if you want
We have in our.
Yater, because that cooling tower handles all of Heckert, Yater.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
So we have invested significantly in trying to improve the system. So we have new piping that we installed in Yater, in the Yater part of it. We
Yater.
replaced all of it.
Yeah.
And we've made significant repairs to the cooling tower. And there are other things, I'm sure, and the control systems, I think, changed on, so.
The bad day early this week, they had to move all classes, I think it was Monday morning.
Yeah, we're having trouble.
Because it was
with it.
hot
That's,
up there.
that's the controls. We're having some, part of it too is these things are all on controls that when the loan, call it the loan, is being paid off. Part of that, they did a big energy efficiency, and part of it is they have hard coded in set points. And the way because the way we were selling that system to the college at the time was, we're gonna save you a lot of money on energy. One of the ways they did it is they have hard coded set points in that at 5 o'clock, system pops up to 80 degrees. It's a set point and doesn't start it back up again until late in the morning at 80 degrees, because that's how they're saving you, paying for themselves. We have been working we've tried hard as heck to get these set points out of being hard coded. We've had some success, not complete success.
So that the cooling time could occur before class.
Earlier, so they come back on at 4 in the morning and go off at 8. But that was the way it was sold, probably, to get it to meet their energy efficiency that they were saving everybody. But and in that era of our nation, everybody was doing energy efficiency, setups. Well, so we know it's there, and we are working like, I won't even say the word, we're working diligently on it. And believe it or not, we made a lot of progress, and we're still working on it all the time.
That's more of an understandable reason as far as that makes sense. I mean, you can't expect temperatures to be put back down to normal acceptable temperatures after they've been allowed to go sky high.
See, that goes back to sort of going back to the foresight that we've been talking about. Foresight would think about, we changed the air conditioning temperature at 5 o'clock. Well, students want to attend class at 7 o'clock in the evening. So we have designed a system that inhibits offering classes when students might want to take those classes. And that's the type of thing that hopefully putting foresight in at all stages of campus operation might address in the future.
It will be an ongoing problem because it's gonna get hotter. That's the thing, it's the temperature is moving.
Bring it on. Don't take out a 20-year loan on a 15-year life expectancy. That's foresight I'll give you there, Richard. When it costs $4 million to replace. Anyway.
All righty, well, anything else on board discussion? If not, next on the agenda is our next meeting. The upcoming board retreat is scheduled for Thursday, July 23rd, 2026 at 4 o'clock. Be sure that you change that on your calendar because we do have it at 4:30. But we made that change to 4. It will be in the Ellebrock conference room. And so this is in lieu of our regular July meeting, but we will be meeting at 6. Is that what time then we decided to do the interviews, right? Okay, so 6 o'clock will be those interviews. Following that, the next regular general session will take place on Thursday, August 27, 2026 at 5:30. And in looking at our agenda, next is the closed session, and after that, there is nothing. So once we come out of closed session, we will then immediately adjourn the general session. To appreciate all who have come out tonight. Thank you, and have a great evening. I think it has stopped raining for the moment, so.
Long enough for you to get to your.
Yeah, long enough for you to get to your car. Let's see, we will have Keith, Dr. Murders, Scott, please stay. Thank you, guys. Oh,
Motion.
we do have a motion, yeah, let's, motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Oh, and I should read why. Hiring, firing, disciplining, or promotion of personnel pursuant to RSMO section 610.0213.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Carr,
Yes.
Dustin Hubs,
Yes.
Jeff Page,
Yes.
Richard Parker,
Yes.
and Patricia Wood.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Jeff, just reminding you, you have a different Zoom link for the executive session.
Correct. Yep.